The top 3 tips for exporters to India, I would say, are number 1 is culture, how to deal with culture, particularly in the business context. Number 2 is really how to deal with corruption, and number 3, how to really choose the right partner. So for example, let me pick up the culture issue. And one of the things that a lot of New Zealand exporters, for example, are challenged by when they are in India, and particularly in, say, a business entertainment context. You are having a meal with a potential business partner or a customer, or you are having a dinner meeting or something like that, is the issue of alcohol. Now, we tend to believe that a lot of people don't actually drink in India. Now, while across the population that may be true, a very large number of people who are in business do actually consume alcohol. And the question is all about giving them a choice. So a very simple tip I would offer is that if you're inviting somebody to have a drink, instead of asking them, would you like a glass of wine, ask them, what would you like to drink? So it's as simple as not actually naming the drink, but actually saying what we'd like to drink. The reason is that, you see, in the Indian culture, people will sometimes drink alcohol in some places in the presence of some, and not drink alcohol in some other places in the presence of others. So it's the same person, and they might suddenly notice that they have an elder present in the room and they would not drink. And then the same person, when the elder is not present in the room, will drink. So you just have to give that choice. This is a very simple tip. And they love drinking, because all you have to see is the amount of alcoholic drinks they consume in that country. So that would be one tip, from a cultural perspective. Looking at the other 2 examples, dealing with corruption, I think most people should be aware by reading international reports, and even reports, very well. I mean, India has a very strong free press, and you will see that there is a lot of corruption in India, always has been. And in fact, in the report that Val did, and in her presentation, she talks about how the corruption in China is quite different from the corruption in India. In India, you'll come across corruption in every corner. And I would say that, just as you look at your financial strategy, just as you look at your marketing strategy, just as you look at your channel strategy, one of the recommendations from Val was look at your corruption strategy before you turn up there. And I think that is 100% golden advice. It's not about you becoming dishonest. It's actually about accepting the fact that you will encounter corruption in one way or the other, and how are you going to deal with it? So considering how to deal with corruption as a part of your strategy before you turn up there, I would say is absolutely 100% right advice from Val's research. So that's 2 aspects we've covered: the culture and the corruption. And the third aspect is about choosing partners. Now, you see, we had some stories about how a company got a call from a person. I think there was a China example, and you have similar examples where you get a call from a person who insists that they know your market and they know your product and they'll represent you. But I wouldn't recommend in India you do that. India is a very different kind of country. I think you have to ensure that you vet the person, because while the legal system is like British system, it is exceptionally hard to extract yourself out of a relationship in India. So you have to choose the right partner at the right time, and take be quite deliberate about choosing. This person is going to represent you, your brand, your value proposition, practically everything about you in India. So if they get it wrong, the price is very high. More importantly, India is now so globally connected that if they get it wrong, the first time the story might appear in Europe, even before you hear it. So the borders are all very porous now. So I think in choosing your partners, you have to actually, having drawn up your candidates, you actually have to carry out some sort of a vetting, and it's a part of your market preparation. Personally, when I invest in any new markets, and particularly markets like India where I've lived, I take nothing on face value. I will take absolutely nothing on face value. That doesn't mean that I think everybody is dishonest. I just will not take anything on face value. I would verify and validate everything, and do it in a very Indian way, which is don't ask direct questions. And just to finish off on a humorous tone, very rarely would you find an Indian say no. And that doesn't mean that just because they haven't used the word no, that means yes. You just have to learn to say when it actually means a yes. More importantly, when they're actually saying no without actually saying the words. So those are subtleties that you have to pick up. And if you have friends in New Zealand who are of Indian origin, you can practice on them.